Welcome back to Lockdown Workshop. Well, the orange one's back in the ramp again. So, what happened to this? Well, right into the lake, part of my training, and the car hit me on the front end, turning into a garage. Clipped the front wheel, spun the forks round. That he hit me so hard there that the wheel went like that. But the handlebars stayed so it's twisted on there, and then the car slammed into the side of them. On initial face of it, not much damage. The pedals, the end's broken on one of them. At the bottom of this lever's broken, cracked. The wheel's fine. The frame looked okay, but it started creaking like the other bike, the dead one. The dead Holsworth, it just started creaking like that, so I was a bit concerned. I've got something going on a bit like that. So when I sent it to James's, who do an assessment for you anyway for insurance purposes, and they confirmed that the steer tube there is okay. The frame's more than likely okay. It looks to have taken it because the hit was like that, which is not where you want to be hit, but it looks like by that point I was going so slow it's not done any damage to the frame. What's done the damage is the twisting motion of the handlebars on the stem, and it's split the stem down there, so it's fractured slightly. And the only reason they spotted it is because when they took the stem off, they couldn't get the fork through the headset cups. It wouldn't fit because it's gone out of shape, so it's the damage is in that bit there. And actually, if you look at it, you can see that they're out of line now, so there's definitely something going on. They are actually slightly keeked back, so and the thing is, they are all carbon. It's a one-piece carbon fork. So luckily, even though it is a out of production bike, because these were the frames that they used for the Tour de France team, so they don't make them anymore, because the new Holsworth frame, that's not a Tour de France, it's not a UCI accredited frame. It does say so somewhere on there that it's a UCI frame. They're now disced. They're now disc wheels. So luckily, Exhibit A. Hey, let's have a look so you can see what I'm doing. I've managed to get another set of forks for £200. So that's okay. The person who hit me did actually stop. Fair to play was, sorry Gov, I didn't see you, routine, but did offer to pay for all the damages. Obviously it was a lot more expensive than he thought it was going to be. But it could have been a lot worse if it was a broken frame, because if it was a broken frame it would have been £1,000 for the frame, and then I'd have had to strip it all down, and at that point it would have gone to menders. And to be honest, if it had gone through insurance, they might have written the bike off anyway. It's not economical to have it repaired, because if it was done through insurance, I wouldn't be able to repair it. So I suspect that he's got off lucky there, to be honest. So he's paying me back in instalments anyway. I've had one instalment. I need to chase him up for the second instalment. It is due now, but then we're quits on that one. And I'll just chalk it up to experience. Not that I could have done anything else. I wasn't even travelling that fast. It was quite comical. I saw him and thought he's going to turn in. So I kept watching him, and I was just about to flick him a wave to say thank you for not pulling in when he suddenly shot across the front of me and wiped out my front wheel. But that's it. I thought initially he got sun in his eyes, but when I stood where his windscreen was and where he was sat, the sun was actually behind a tree and behind the roof of a house, because it is a bit bad up there, so it's a bit squeaky bum time going down that particular road in the morning. Anyway, right, so job today, swap the forks over. I've got to sort out the pedals. I'm not going to order them until I've got the next payment. And I've got to order the brake lever. I have actually found just that part of it, not the whole mechanism, but it's £100 just to replace that lever. So, but luckily I have got the tool for taking it, and you can see it's chipped all the way up here, so it has split and cracked all the way up there, so that's been quite badly deformed. I put a nasty crease in the side of his car as well. Anyway, right, so what we'll do is we'll crack on with this. I've got some other bits I need to do. I've been riding this one, which I actually bought as a training tool, to let people try a TT bike. The intention wasn't for me to ride it, but I've had to ride it a couple of times because obviously I haven't got a bike other than riding the mountain bike. There's a couple of things with it. I think these are rattling underneath. They're making a bit of a row when we're riding, so it's a clonking noise. And the saddles come loose as well, so I need to fix that. I did actually tune the gears up on that. I didn't make a video of it. They just needed a slight adjustment. They were 5 out of the 10 gears wouldn't select, and they kept jumping almost like the chain had worn, but it wasn't. It turns out it was just needed a very slightest adjustment, but it's SRAM Apex. They're a bit finicky. They're almost as bad as the Soras, even though they are the equivalent of the 105s or the Tigras, I think. Anyway, we might have a quick look at that one if I get time, but onto this one first. I'll put you in the stand and we'll get on with it. We're back. Right, switched. Had you on the wrong lens. Had you on the 360 lens. Put you back on the normal one now. Right then, so where was it? Oh, by the way, I wasn't badly injured. Just sprained my tendons on two fingers that got bent backwards and clattered my ankle as I rolled across his bonnet. Right, I wanted to try and find my straps. I normally hang the handlebars from the ceiling to keep them off the frame, but I couldn't find them, so I've given up with that. I've spent 10 minutes walking around trying to find them. Can't find them anywhere, so abandoned that one. Let's try and capture all my things that I need. I need that one. What's the 6? But I'll grab it anyway. I think I'm missing one of the Allen keys. No, that's a 5. That's a 4, I think. That's a 3. Yep, I think I've got them all. So, first things first, let's get this off. If I just put this bloody thing together, about this time last year, I think. So this happened quite a while ago, actually. It was just before we went on holiday, so it was about 2 weeks before that. Right, that's that out. Just going to knock the... No, it's not going to have it. I should have undone that first. Right, that's that out of the way. Let's get the wheel off. What I do need to do though is I need to order a crank sensor for the TT bike. I actually enjoyed riding it. I've not been a big fan of TT bikes, but that was why I bought it, was so that people could try them that have not used them before. Now I've used similar bikes before. I used to ride velodrome on a fixie, so I know what I'm doing on them. That's not having it. Let's see if we can get a persuader to get it to pull out. I just seem to remember I had a bit of fun getting these in. I think it's a bigger one than that. Next size up. Oh, that's a nice shiny one. Should we try that one? That might be a bit too big. I think I'm clutching at straws here. Let's try that one. There we go. They generally are a snug fit in these frames, because obviously the frames that'll be why I couldn't get it out, because it can't get it through from that side. So there we go. Just put another one through and push it through. So we'll stick that on there so we don't lose it. I did have to get a longer one than what came with them to fit this particular fork set. Right, so that should be fairly straightforward now. Just take that off, drop that out. Where's my goodies tray? These are so light. You think you've got a pair of light carbon forks until you get a pair of full carbon forks. And then you get a set of full carbon forks that's off a a decent frame, and then it makes a massive difference. Don't make it that much faster though. The law of the returning, diminishing returns kicks in. So if you half your bike weight, you get so much, but if you half it again, you get significantly less, to the point where you're making quite, you could be making quite big changes, and it's not making no difference whatsoever because you've pretty much reached the capacity. Waffling a bit. Right, so I've just slacked these off, so the head, the steering tube will come through. I've just got to be careful to catch it now because it's got a high potential to disappear through, because this should be the only thing that's holding it in now, unless I've not slackened them off enough. So we'll just be on the safe side now. I'll leave that slightly keyed in. These do have an expanding collar because you can't put the normal starred washer that you hammer in. Let's just tilt you up a bit. First I've got a set to show you, but there's normally like a dishwasher with stars on it that's slightly bigger than the hole, and you hammer that in, it can't get back out again. Right. Yeah, that's not wanting to come off there at all, really. So I suspect we're going to start to see the effects of the damage. I doubt whether it'll be visible, to be honest. So I almost don't care about the whether they've come off okay. Yeah, that's not coming out of there. I suspect we're going to have to get the hammer on it. So this here isn't torqued in. That there's a you only do it says 8 Newton meters on it, but we generally put in probably less than that. Come on out, you come. So if you look at that, that's covered in assembly paste. And the idea is it grips. Yeah, you see, it had fractured it, and then the pressure of that had popped it back out again. So take all them off. Drop this down. See if there's anything visible on there. I can feel it. You can definitely feel it. That's smooth. You can't feel anything when you spin it. That there, it's there. You can actually feel it. I don't know if you can see it. Can't feel anything on the inside. Oh, it's got a mark there as well. Yeah, that's damaged. Yeah, you can see it. The filament has all come out there. Right. So, the next challenge. Let's check they are the same. We've got the same throw. Yep. That's interesting. Right, so that is very interesting. Not sure what to do about that. This frame's a small frame, and the forks that are supposed to come with the small frame are the 52s, which these are. So that's the offset, how much caster they've got on them in effect. These say the 43, which are actually supposed to be for the medium and large. So it looks like they might have put the wrong size wheels on, which is interesting. The wrong sized thing. So I'm just going to cut you off there and just check that they have actually sent me the right ones. Right, no, just been on the website and checked, and it is the 53 that comes with the extra small. So this frame was built and assembled with the wrong forks on. Interesting. That might explain why I used to catch my feet on it a lot. But having said that, though, it's still a nice ride, so I'm not complaining. Will I notice the difference? Yeah, they're definitely going to stick out further, which is good. These might not get me toast up behind them as much as I was. Right, so what I've got to do next is I've got to cut the flipping things down, because now there's a distinct difference in size. So as you can see, I did it before, and I did it with a Dremel, and it is not the most round thing I ever did, but it is neat and it is smooth, which is important with the carbon. If you're going to cut it, you've got to make sure it's absolutely cut perfect and there's no nicks or marks down, because it puts a weakness in it. So I have invested in a proper cutter, so we'll go and dig that out now. Back again. Right, so I decided actually what I'll do is I'll show you the correct way to measure these up. So what you need your headset, preferably not covered in cack that you're just about to squirt all over your clean forks. It's always good to try your cups on you, just in case there's a manufacturing defect and they don't fit. You don't need to grease these, you don't need to put anything on them. They should just sit down where they're supposed to sit. That's going to sit nicely. Then you drop that up there. The bearing's still in the top, and that's sat nice and snug. That's that in there. Put the top lump in, which should have a rubber seal in that stops it from falling down, and that one looks like it's actually working. The last one of these I did, the rubber seal was substandard on it. That's moving nicely. It says. I think we might be missing something. We are missing something. Get that off again. Why didn't you tell me I'd not put the retainer collet in? That bit has to go down there. There's a split in it. You usually put the split towards the back, if I can find it. Doesn't really matter at the moment because we're doing a dry assembly. Put that on. That's in place now. Yeah, that's spinning properly. Put these on. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this, and actually I prefer to do it with that. Even though this isn't how I'm going to assemble it, I'm going to have to jiggle these because I can't get it with a cable. Come on. That's it. So shove that back down again. Right, so that's in. Put that on. And what we're going to do is we're going to mark it. See, what will happen is that will go on. So we need to mark it so that there's a gap for the other piece to sit in, because this pulls the stem up into that. So the top of that with this on, because that sits proud as well. That sits proud at the top like that. Has got to sit in there with enough room to be able to pull that down without it catching the top of that. And that's quite a common thing that I find on some of the bikes I've had to repair, where the headset's rocking all the time. It's because the steer tube's been cut too long. So I've had to put an extra packing piece in. But the best way to do it is to actually get a scribe or a piece of tape if you've got one, but we've got one. So there we go, we've got a scribe. Right, just put a mark. You don't need a big mark because obviously you're marking the. So it's more of a. Right, so that's the mark. I need to be somewhere around that. Now, I'm lucky because I've got a set of forks that's already been cut to the right size that I can copy. So I didn't need to do that. I was just showing you how you do it. Because once you've cut it, you can't stick it back on again. And if you did it to a £1,000 pair of mountain bike forks, you kind of snookered. I suspect I'll be snookered with these because I think there's only one more set of the 53s left. Which I was tempted to buy them as a spare, but I'm not planning on having any more accidents. And this bike was only ever a temporary anyway, because they didn't have the one I wanted in stock, so this was supposed to be a temporary measure. Right, so I've got my mark. So we'll bring you back over here in a minute. Are you back? Right, so this is the new gadget. It's actually a tube cutting tool, because I thought last time I couldn't be bothered to buy one, because it's not something I do a great deal. I've only ever had to cut a set of forks down once before, and that was the ones I bought for the mountain bike. But then obviously I bought this frame last year and had to cut them down, so that's 2 sets. I'm now thinking that's 2 I've had to do, and it would have been a lot easier to have them done properly with this. So I'm just going to do 2 things with this. That doesn't help, does it? So there's a slit in this that the saw blade goes into, and all I'm trying to do is get it so I can actually see that coming through. But what I will do as well is, while we're here, I'll just check I've got this height right. So take out the protector bar. Yeah, that looks pretty much about right. Right, so you clamp it in, and then you check again, because you're completely paranoid about doing this and cutting it wrong. That looks about right. Maybe squidging back a smidgen. Don't over tighten that, it just needs to be there to hold it tight. So line them up again. That's pretty much in line with the gap. Who's pinging me? The cat is back inside. Well, let's hope he's not brought any more playmates with him. Right, so, and this is the other thing I bought. I bought a new hacksaw because my hacksaws are knackered. They belong to my father-in-law and they are absolutely at the end of their life. But I park tool, proper bike piece. So this is a carbon cutting blade. So it's got like some probably diamondy type material or stuck there that's obviously harder than that, and the carbon filaments, and hopefully it'll fit inside here. And if it doesn't, we've got problems. But I suspect it will make its own way down. So these are actually designed to be used with hacksaw blades. So if I get a hacksaw blade, I've got a hacksaw blade. Here's a hacksaw blade. You'll see the hacksaw blade fits nice. And you can do this with a hacksaw blade. It's just that I thought I would buy a proper carbon blade, but I might be having trouble because it won't fit in there. So I might have to find a slightly bigger washer to pack that out with. I think they've got a washer behind me. Don't really want to make a mess of this. No, that's not having it. Right then, in that case, we will switch to plan B and use the hacksaw blade then. Just check it will go, the other side will go through, yeah. I don't want to start feeding it through and then and also got to make sure I get the teeth in the right orientation. Which I hadn't done. I'll have a bash with this, and if it doesn't work, what I'll do is I'll enlarge this hole. That's not going to be a problem. Smell the resin. Right, while it's held in there, I'll just give a quick run out. You could do this with a Dremel or a thing, but if you've got a set of files, it's just probably nicer to do it with a file, especially one of these rounded ones. Doesn't need anything, you're just trying to, again, make sure it's a nice clean edge so it doesn't have any weak spots. And we could do the same to the other side too. This is where we hope to God it worked. Right. That's quite a nice clean cut. That's better than the other one. So all I need to do now is just run off the edge of this a bit. So it goes through the headset tubes nicely. I do not like doing head tubes, these, because if it was somebody else's bike, I would have been measuring it about 20 times. I'd put it back in the frame 3 times. What are them chickens up to? They're up to something, them chickens. Right then, let's bring you back over here. A bit closer. Right, put that down. Assembly paste. So I think you've seen me use this before. It's what you use to build carbon frames. It's like a, it's like an. I don't even know what it. I don't know what the thing is. It's not an oil, because that wouldn't make sense. It's a liquid or a solvent, but it has grit in it, and you can hear that. And the idea is that you have a bit of that in, because carbon's a very slippy substance. They use graphite as a dry lube, or graphene. So the idea is you don't tighten things up on a carbon frame. To make the grip, you use assembly paste. So that's what we're doing with that. So there's too many so's. I need this, and it says on the top of there, I think it says 8 newtons, and I don't think I like doing it to 8 newtons. I think I did it to 6 last time. Took it up to 7, I think. That's 7 newtons. What size is that? It says it's a 5. It's not turning it. It must be a 6. It's on, it was a 5. 6. Yeah, it is a 6. Oh. There we go. Doesn't take a lot, and you shouldn't really brace the forks, but I was doing it between the legs and I could feel if I was putting any excessive pressure on it. So that's in, that's where it needs to be. Just got to shove this up there now. Oh, why didn't you remind me I've not put that on? So that needs to go on. That goes up. Put the collar on the gap. Put the gap to the back. The reason we put the gap to the back Well, the reason I put the gap to the back is because most of the forces are acting on this part of the tube are acting at the front. So when you brake, it's pushing forwards, so it puts that at the back. So it's well out of the way. You can put it at the side, just don't put it at the front. I'm sure that somebody will come on the thing and say, "No, you're talking out of your bottom. You don't know anything." Well, you know what? I probably don't, but if you just think about forces and the way the forces are acting and you're trying to mitigate them, and if that's what you think's right, then feel free to do it like that. So that goes on there. This comes up here. So it's smacked my new forks with the thing. There we go, and that's nicely in there. Nice good grip. Just put that in there now. Next size down. Nope, next size down. Keep going, taller, you'll find it eventually. Is it that one? No, I was right the first time. It was the 5. Yeah. It was doing it up. Right. Just try and get these somewhere near. So we'll have to come and do this again, because you always do. Right, let's get this in, and then we'll drop the wheel in and tighten everything up once we can line it up. You can't line it up without the wheel in. It just doesn't work. That noticeably fits better than the other one. That went straight in. So it just shows the mouldings are different, the manufacturing is different on these to the other ones. Yeah, that's bitten. We'll line that up in a minute when we get the wheels on. So again, that wants to be about 7 or 8 on the old clicometer. Don't forget to set it to German specification, Guttenheit. Never get bored of that one. There we go. Stick the wheel back in. That's it. This is where we drop it back onto the floor. Oh, that's it. The reason we drop it back onto the floor is because even with my best endeavours, chances of me getting that seated properly in the bottom of the fork is not very good, even though in that case I had actually done it. So I'll just use the old-fashioned method for lining these up. Wrong one. I'm still the wrong way around. Just pushing that across a lot. Pushing it across a lot. Spot on. Right, now line the forks up. Double check them from the side. And then when I get out on the bike, next time I go out on it, I will notice that they're still not right. I think we'll call that a win. Just check that they are locked off. No movement. Good. I think these are 7 or 6 Newton meters. Need the teeny one. A broken one. Keep ready to go and get that back. Get all broken. But the Halfords has bounced, which is kind of, I don't know what the equivalent is in the States, but they're good. They're the nearest thing to kind of going and getting expensive snap-on tools without expensive price tags. But when people say, "Oh, it's Halfords, it's shit stuff," you know. Yeah, you're probably quite right in most cases, but I don't really care. They were very well made. I'll tell you that now, and they are very similar design to snap-on. But the reason you buy them is because you've got a lifetime warranty on them. So even if you snap or break one of your sockets, you just go back and they'll just give you another one. There we go. Just remember, I didn't have these like this. What did I? I think I had my bars one down. I was going to move my bars one down. I'll give it a go with that. I do remember. Because I like doing things several times. Now, I had remembered that I normally have a hole at the top. That one should be. I think that's how I originally had it. No, we'll go with that. Centre them up again, because we like doing that several times. That's a good trick. Don't look down your top tube when you're centering your forks, turn them to one side, and then you can see the line down the middle of that actually is going through the line of the wheel. Let's see how that goes. Just check that's locked. Zero and locked. So the other thing, you've got to be careful with this because it does have a bit of drifting. That's it. Right, that's it. She's all back together. I'm just going to stick her back in and just give it a quick once over with the gears. I've got to put the pedals back on off that one. Do I need the pedals for what I'm going to do with this? Who knows? Yes, I do. We'll quickly whip the pedals off because I don't need the pedals for the... Let's bring you over here and have a look at this one. Quickly find the right Allen key. That's the right Allen key. Now I think this saddle's about half an inch too low as well for me. So I'm going to just take it up to there. See if that's better. I was almost banging my knees on it. It's not the right one, I think it is. That should do it. Stick the lid back on this before it goes monkey. And don't forget to put that back in the steering tube on that. Right, next one. This. What are we going to do with it? Oh yeah, this. It's gone wobbly. That looks very industrial. Look at that. That's not what I expected to see. I wonder if that is the original one, because that's not what I expected to see in there. To be honest, that looks like a normal stainless steel bolt. That doesn't look like it is supposed to be in there at all. Yeah, very strange. I find this saddle is actually a bit too far back, so I might actually move it forward a notch. I do need to do a proper bike fit on this, but if I'm going to ride it. But I do find I'm reaching quite a lot on it, so I might just whip that out and just go with my instincts that says that is thinking, well, while we're doing it, I'll see if it looks right, because if it doesn't look right, I'll swap it for something that is right. I think these are all, it looks like about 13. 13. And what's the little squiggly thing? No, that's not the right one. That one's in there. One's on there. Show that job for a second. Sorry. Interesting. Pretty sure that isn't right for that. I would have expected. Oh, let me show you. See if I can find something better than that. The big ones. Oh, I should have shot a stubby one like that in there somewhere. Nope. Nope. Possibly that is what I'm looking for with a washer. Maybe too small. Maybe too big. I think it's too big. Interesting. Sorry, I'm I'm muttering away to myself here. That one probably fit. That one definitely fit. Just put a split rim on it. So I've got a split washer on it and one of them. And I think that is a much nicer look than what was in there, because that just looked awful, to be honest. Now I can get a spanner in it again. Come on, don't be awkward. Hold on a second. Right, that might be a very good reason why, because most saddles don't have a thing, so you put a ratchet spanner on it. So that probably was the right bolt. Well, you live and learn, don't you? If I want to roll this saddle forwards, I'm not really going to get a spanner on it. I do think it needs a washer under it though. A lock washer, which is what I've got now. So we'll just stick that on there. We'll just stick that through there. That's okay. And stick that through there. Grab that one. So that's a 13. Let's try that 13 spanner. I've whacked you again, haven't I? That was a 13. No, that's a 14. That's a 13. Question is, can I be crafty and get that over there? Again, it's stuck. Still a bit faffy. Of course, it could have all been assembled wrong in the first place, because and that's why it's come loose. Not the fact that it hasn't got a lock washer on. That's nose is a bit up. There's no one to screw it. It's just fastening it back down again. That's quite annoying. Come on. Right, let's just. How come it's taking longer to fix this? And it took to cut down a set of fork tubes. Come on. There we go. I don't think it's gone far enough. There we go, that's it, got it this time. I'm only supposed to talk this, to be honest. She's probably like, come undone. I'm a bit conscious I'm screwing into carbon too, so I'm going to have to be careful with this one. I don't like to take it any tighter than that. Right, so let's move that forwards a bit. It's nice and flat anyway. Right, we'll give a go with that. So let's lock that down. So all we're going to do now is just have a look at this bottom piece and just tighten that up a bit, and then we'll whip the pedals off. Stick the other bike back in. There we go. Put some of these in. Be careful with these PT2 bikes because they do have habit of throwing the handlebars around and smashing the frames in, so you tend to try and keep them nose down. As it happens, that's exactly where I need it to be. So let's just spin that down so you can see. Right, so I think we've got a problem with this is loose because it rattles like anything. So we'll just have a look, see if they are loose, and if they're not, we'll just leave them alone. We'll just chalk it up to something rational. Not the right size. I think this one's the right size. No, they don't feel loose. What's the Torx bit? No, never. There comes the Torx bits. I suspect it could be that one. Nope. I hate Torx bits. Anything else I can just look at it and go, that's the right size. Torx bits, never get it. I'm always one size out. I suspect these are just horrible, cheap, nasty, not scented very well, that. One might not be helping a great deal. That's front brake, that's back brake. Yeah, not centred. So where's the centering? Not. That's it there. That's it there. That's it. Maybe one of these. Oh, I'm definitely wrong with that one. What is that one? Oh, there we go. Oh, perfect. Just needs to be tightened up a bit there. Not much. There's not much tightening left on them already. You'll do. Right. Hold on. Right, let's get these brakes off. Pedals off. Yep, big ones. Big ones. Actually, are they? Are they? Are they? Yes, they are. Big ones. I think it's that size. Yeah, that's an 8. This is the right hand pedal, so it should just come off normally. There we go. Left hand pedal, left hand thread. Opposite for the bottom bracket though. Yeah, I'm going to have to put these on the other bike temporarily because the other ones hold up on it says. Because the other ones are broken, so these are my reserve set. Ping. Somebody's trying to get me. Right, there we go. Let's get them off. That probably wasn't my best move. There we go. We've got it out. And the headset tube is done on this as well. Oh God, yes. Right, I knew there was something else on this one. The headset tube's loose as well. So let's stick that in. It's proper annoying. I've got to take that out of there now because that's the fiddliest, faffiest thing ever. Oh, please tell me that hasn't just snapped. They're having chicken discussions outside my window, which I wish I wouldn't do. Because they're going to start swearing in a minute. Right, let's see if that's any better. Right, that's it. Let's just check these are in line. Nope. Right, that's back again. So that's flipper. Oh, and they're having a good old swear. You are live on the workshop. Please do not swear. George, George, you are live on the workshop. Do not swear. I hear Big Brother's coming back again. ITV have got it. Won't be no good unless TV was doing it. Did I want to put that in line? Who knows? I suspect that's part of the problem, actually. This Garmin thing I've put in. But I do seem to remember it was wobbly before I put this on, so let's see. I think the bottom piece is metal. I think this top piece is metal as well, so it should be alright. If it's not, we will move it because it's not in the right place. I think I need a proper heads-up monitor there. This thing needs to come off, and I need to level up the bar tube things as well because they're not right. I messed about with these the other day to try and get a better position. And actually what I should have done was actually just brought the bars up a bit. So these need levelling again. They aren't level. So we'll take this off first because I don't think we've got a... Oh, no screwdrivers. I've got one there. We turfed out the box earlier. I thought you were in a minute. There you go. I can just pop them off. I was kind of hoping you were just going to be able to do that. There you go. They're out. So I can now see how far out they are. So it would appear that all my batteries are dead. Anyway, right, let's... that's why I had the thicker tubing, wasn't it, because of that. So, next question is, where did I put that? There she goes. Right, so we'll just quickly actually, we're going to do it with this one. Line them back up again. What I did was I made one slightly higher than the other, just to see if I could get it so and now we're having a proper kick-off outside, because that's just what you like doing on a Sunday evening. And a massive sweary argument with your son. think they are the same now. So come on. God, these are awkward. It sits in there. And then it comes out again. By the time I finish swinging on it, it'll all be at a different height again. Right. Now what I wanted to do was bring them up a tad. So I've decided if I'm going to use this at the relays. Not really doing anything, I can't get these undone. Somebody's used assembly paste in there. That's it. And I'm now slightly higher. Need the tiddly one again. God, this was only going to be a short 30-minute. I think we're already at 45 minutes. Faffing. I'm not even going to ride this next week. I've got my pedal split until I get some more pedals. Right, I think that's ready. I'll have to give it a try anyway. That one's done. Right, let's get this one back round. Just give this one a gear change because I can't remember if anything else was wrong with this. And obviously I've not ridden it since I got knocked off. Anything down now? Yeah. You know what? It actually looks better now because them forks are in line. Amazing. Right. This is the right hand thread, so this one should screw in that way round. No, I'm screwing that way round because I've just been unscrewing it. Where's the big one gone? Don't torque these up. Self-tighten, to be honest. If you're pedalling, they shouldn't come loose unless you're pedalling backwards. You won't be doing that unless you're coming into transition. Okay. So the rings go this way. What's that the opposite way around? One bite. Go. That's some horrible funky noises. Always worried about doing that near there. Right, so seems legit. I think I'm going to treat myself to a new Altogether derailleur because they're much better design than them. The new ones are a lot better, a lot tidier. Right, that's good. We'll just give the cane a quick clean and a wipe off, and then we'll call it a day. I won't trouble you with that. So anyway, another one done for the lockdown workshop. Back on bikes again. I think we've got a couple already booked in. We've got the orange mountain bike that comes here a lot. Has got a bottom bracket that's gone on yet. I'll let you know how that goes. I think that's about it. Just wind it up and start another week. Remember, like and subscribe. We are trying to build the channel up a bit. If there's anything you want to see done on here, or you want to send any projects or ask me any questions, just hit the links. All right, job's a good one. Over and out.